When the transmission reached Earth, it arrived without warning. No flare of cosmic radiation, no encrypted preamble, just a sudden interruption across every satellite channel humanity possessed. The image that replaced the global broadcast was not hostile. It was not threatening. It was regal. She stood in a chamber of living light, tall and radiant, her skin shimmering like starlight folded into flesh. Her eyes were not human, yet they carried something deeply familiar: intelligence, sorrow, and ancient authority. Behind her rose pillars shaped like blooming constellations, slowly rotating as if the room itself breathed. "I am Empress Cythera of the Aurelian Dominion," she said, her voice resonating across every language at once. "Hear me, people of Earth. My empire has fallen silent. No men remain among my kind." Panic erupted worldwide, but she raised a single luminous hand. "This is not a declaration of war," she continued. "It is a statement of truth. A plague, one that targeted our genetic polarity, has erased all male Aurelians. Our species faces extinction within 3 generations." Then she looked directly into the camera, as if she could see each individual watching. "I invite one human man to my world, not as a prisoner, not as a weapon, but as a guest and possibly our future." The transmission ended. In the weeks that followed, governments argued, scientists debated, and conspiracy theories multiplied. But beneath the chaos, a quieter process began: selection. They didn't choose a soldier or a politician. They chose me. Dr. Elias Wren, xenolinguist, 34 years old, divorced, no children, no criminal record, and, according to the psychological assessment, emotionally adaptable with low power-seeking tendencies. In simpler terms, I was expendable. When they told me I'd been selected, I laughed. When they showed me the ship waiting beyond the moon, I stopped laughing. And when they said the Empress herself had requested to meet me alone, fear finally settled in. The journey to Aurelia took 6 days, or at least that's what the ship's interface translated. Time bent strangely inside the vessel, folding and unfolding like breath. When we arrived, Aurelia was not the dead world I expected. It was alive. Vast crystalline cities stretched across violet plains, their structures grown rather than built. The sky shimmered with twin suns, casting overlapping shadows that danced as I walked. And everywhere were women. Aurelian women. Tall, luminous, graceful. Their presence carried an undercurrent of mourning so deep it pressed against my chest. They watched me not with hunger, but with something far more dangerous: hope. The Empress received me in her inner sanctum, a chamber open to the stars. Up close, Cythera was even more imposing. Her crown hovered above her head, forged of orbiting fragments of light. Yet when she spoke, her voice softened. "You are smaller than I imagined," she said. "Most people say that." I replied before I could stop myself. To my surprise, her lips curved, an alien approximation of a smile. "You are not afraid," she observed. "I am," I admitted. But curiosity usually wins. That pleased her. Over the following days, she explained everything: the plague, the panic, the civil wars that followed when the last Aurelian men died. Entire dynasties had collapsed overnight. Cultures built on balance were forced into survival. "You see a throne," she told me one night as the stars shifted overhead. "I see a tomb waiting to be sealed." Her invitation was not what the rumors on Earth suggested. She did not demand I father a generation. She did not chain me with duty. Instead, she asked me to stay. "To study us," she said. "To understand us. And in time to choose." The court, however, was less patient. High Matron Valkyra confronted me openly, her voice sharp as broken crystal. One man cannot save us. He will divide us. She has already chosen, another whispered. I felt the weight of an entire civilization pressing down on my existence. Every gesture I made was scrutinized. Every word analyzed for hidden intent. And then there was Zithra herself. She visited me often. We spoke of history, loss, and the strange loneliness of leadership. In quiet moments, when the Empress set aside her crown, she felt less like a ruler and more like a woman drowning beneath expectations. One night, as twin moons rose, she asked the question that changed everything. If I asked you to stay, not as a symbol, not as a solution, but as my equal, would you refuse? I didn't answer immediately, because somewhere along the way Aurelia had stopped feeling alien. It felt necessary. Ending. The decision did not come with fireworks or declarations. It came quietly. I stood beside Zithra at the edge of the Capitol spire, watching lightships trace slow arcs through the sky. Below us, the city pulsed with life, unaware that its future balanced on a single human heartbeat. If I stay, I said finally, it won't be as a savior. She turned to me, her eyes reflecting the stars. Good. We do not need gods anymore. I won't belong to your empire, I continued, and you won't own my future. Her crown dimmed slightly, an Aurelian sign of respect. Then we begin as equals. The court did not accept it easily. Some called it sacrilege. Others called it desperation. But Zithra stood firm, dissolving ancient laws that bound her people to rigid survival rituals. Instead of using me as a singular solution, she chose a harder path. Aurelia would adapt. Human Aurelian research began not forced breeding but shared science. Genetic synthesis without domination. Cultural exchange instead of conquest. Hope, not panic. And me? I became something no one expected. Not a consort. Not a king. But a bridge. Years passed. Aurelia changed. So did I. One evening, as we watched the first hybrid children play beneath the glowing towers, Zithra stood beside me, her hand brushing mine, not claiming, just present. You were invited when no men remained, she said softly. Yet you gave us something more valuable than survival. What's that? I asked. She looked at her people, strong, resilient, healing. Choice. Above us, the stars burned on, indifferent but eternal. And for the first time since her empire had fallen silent, the Empress smiled without sorrow. The future was no longer a command. It was an invitation, one we had both chosen to accept.